Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Spurs of the Moment podcast. My name is Reagan Love, and I'm joined here by Jackson Baird and Justin Boutte. And just to give you guys a little background of who we are and what types of insight we're going to be giving, I am a San Antonio native. I focus mainly on the Spurs. I'm a huge NBA fan, but I don't follow much around the league outside of the Spurs, except for trades that can involve the Spurs. Justin here, he is just a big fan of the NBA as a whole. He likes following a lot of different teams and
Whoa,
a little bit of camera shy.
You trying to call me a bandwagon or something?
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying.
He's a Jimmy Butler fanboy.
He's a Jimmy Butler fan, LeBron fan. So that's where he comes.
When did I say it? Okay.
Jackson's definitely more of a college hoops fan, and I think that naturally kind of plays into who he roots for in the NBA is people who he's watched play for long periods of time, hence why he's wearing like a Lonzo jersey. He's a huge fan of that family and stuff, and that's just kind of what's led him to be fans of different players that he may or may not talk about. So just to kind of kick us off, we're literally in the middle of the All-Star break right now. I've got the All-Star game on my TV next to me. So past that midway point of the season and down to that sort of final stretch. And the Spurs are negative. They have won 7 out of their last 20 games, which is obviously not good after actually a pretty impressive start to the season, especially compared to last year's. Sorry, what were you going to say?
The main thing is Pop's out. He's out of commission. If we had Pop, we'd still be on the stretch like we had at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, that's true. Mitch Johnson's definitely been catching some heat in his coaching, so Pop definitely could be a contributing factor. Obviously, prayers up for him and wish him a speedy recovery. But just to kind of kick us off, do you guys think that the Spurs should tank the rest of the season one last time, given that even if we do make playoffs, we're not really loaded up to make a run? Or do you think the potential play-in / playoff experience is more valuable for Wemby and his development?
Wemby already has playoff experience overseas, and Fox has experience. The only thing that people who don't are like Keldon Johnson, Castle, and Vassell. So they might need it, they might not, but we're building for the next 10 years, so they can get that experience later. And I think this draft class is good enough with Ace Bailey and Cooper Flagg. And there was another guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
My goat, Trey Johnson.
Yeah, Trey.
Dropped 32 on Kentucky last night.
Yeah. So this draft class is so good. I think tanking is worth it over the playoff experience because we're for sure making the playoffs next year. So
I would disagree. I would say there's no reason to tank. I mean, I don't think the Spurs are probably going to make playoffs regardless of if they tank or not. So I think this is valuable minutes and playing time for this squad. They're a young squad. They got veteran leadership with Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes on the roster this season.
And Bismack.
They just got De'Aaron Fox, and so it's a new group. And I think these minutes they're getting together, win or loss, is valuable for the future because they do have, correct me if I'm wrong, they do have a protected lottery pick, right?
Yeah, with the Hawks. They have the Hawks pick.
It's unprotected.
Unprotected lottery pick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so no matter what, they do have the Hawks pick. And the Hawks did lose Jalen Johnson for the season. They just traded away Hunter for Bone.
Nothing.
Bone and Terrence. Yeah, I don't know.
So regardless, they should have a decently high pick. So
yes,
I don't see the point of tanking necessarily because I think
I just don't want to end up where we are really lucky in the draft if you think about the past 2 years on where our picks landed.
Yeah.
So I'm just worried we're not going to keep that luck unless we hedge our bets with the percent.
I'm just tired of being in a losing mode. I want to see the Spurs.
This is my favorite.
Try to win.
The rebuild is my favorite part, honestly. It's so weird.
I'm tired of not being I'm tired of my season ending at the end of the regular season. I want to see someone in the playoffs. I want to see Wemby in the playoffs, and find out if he's the type of person who's going to really rise. I expect he will. Who's going to rise in the playoffs, or if he's going to sink. I know his competitive nature suggests that he'll rise, but you never really know until they're there. So
that is true. You know, the James Hardens of the game, where they're great in the regular season,
right.
Bad in the playoffs.
And just to add on to what Jackson was saying, even if the Spurs don't tank, their strength of schedule is not easy. I mean, they do, like, immediately, I mean, they have Pistons, Pelicans, which are 3 winnable matchups. But then after that, it's Rockets, who are good, Grizzlies, Thunder, Nets, not great, Kings are good, Wolves are good, Mavs are good, Hornets, Pelicans. So there's a couple of, like, potential wins sprinkled in there, but it's definitely an uphill battle. I don't think they need to deliberately tank. I've seen some people online suggesting that Mitch Johnson is soft tanking the team with his lineups by keeping Chris Paul and De'Aaron Fox in the lineup. I think that's entirely to show respect to Chris Paul, because they did promise him a starting spot when they came here, and I don't think it's worth throwing away a promise to such a well-known player. Exactly. Just for a shot at a play-in where we probably won't even make the playoffs.
But from my perspective, why Chris Paul joined that team was strictly to play with Wemby and to teach. So him getting minutes is kind of like over Castle is just weird.
Yeah. But either way, like, following this season is going to bring us into potentially our biggest off season that we're going to have had in a long time. I think there's a lot of pressure on our front office to, especially now that there's going to be 2 years left on Wemby's rookie contract. Castle's on a rookie contract. We just got Fox. He's going to have surgery and then hopefully be ready to go by the start of the season. So are there any 2 players outside of Fox and Wemby that you would be mad if they were traded, or do you think outside of them 2, it's everyone can go?
Castle has to stay.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Castle's definitely a pivotal part of this rebuild that the Spurs got going on.
I don't know that much. Like, Vassell's good, and I see flashes, but it wouldn't. It's like 50-50. Like, I could see them trading, but I could also see them not, and just keeping him to develop.
I feel that the Spurs have a good core going on, but there's a couple guys like Vassell, Keldon Johnson, maybe Sochan, that if you can get a experienced player that may not be like an all-star or anything like that, but a player that you can win now with and get good value for any of those players, I definitely would say they should probably take that offer.
I think there's potential to get like Bam Adebayo, which might sound crazy, or like Evan Mobley.
I don't know if they could get any of those guys with the players we talked about, but
I think there's just going to be there's going to be a huge tax on the Spurs going forward, just like a Wemby tax, because anyone knows if they trade with the Spurs that they're potentially giving us a dynasty if they mess up. Even Fox, like, we basically made out like bandits with Fox. We gave up one good pick. We gave up our 2031 Minnesota pick.
I don't even think the Kings got like messed up on that trade. I think the Bulls got messed up on all those trades.
Yeah, no, the Bulls definitely made out the worst. I mean, they gave up Zach LaVine essentially for Kevin Huerter, Trey Jones, Zach Collins, and their own pick back, which was already protected. So they, in my eyes, they essentially lost Zach LaVine for nothing. And I know they were trying to move off that contract, but anyways, going back to what were you gonna say?
We could get Vucevic.
Yeah, I was surprised. They're taking a lot of heat for not trading him at the deadline because they're obviously tanking now, and
he's a good player. He's just kind of stuck in no man's land right now.
They just need to pick a direction because, I mean, giving up LaVine for no star in return obviously suggests you're tanking, but then
LaVine's not a...
You re-sign Lonzo, and apparently reports came out today that there were multiple suitors for Lonzo, one offering first-round pick.
I did see that.
So, yeah. I agree. As much as I love Vassell literally wearing his jersey, I think if he were gonna have taken a leap, it would have been done by now. I think the Spurs should listen to all offers, even on Fox. Like,
I agree.
if I would take a 1-for-1 Trae Young for Fox.
I
I don't know about that.
I like Fox's defense. Trae Young,
I'm sitting here.
he has like 9 turnovers a game or something. Like, I don't know. Trae Young turns the ball over so much that it just gets so frustrating to watch.
I think Fox is a good fit for the Spurs. He plays decent defense. He's fast-paced, handles the ball well, has a decent mid-range to 3.
Yeah, and
his bag.
Since Wemby can shoot and Fox is a drive and dish player, it could work.
But I don't see him going for Trae Young. If they would have, they probably would have just gone straight for Trae Young.
Yeah,
they would have had to give up so much for Trae Young, though. We would have to get our picks back.
Well, we'd probably have to give our picks back, but probably not much outside of that, because especially with Jalen Johnson getting hurt, they're kind of desperate right now. They're desperate to win.
They're probably tanking as well.
Yeah, they're tanking without their pick, which is just, man, if there's one franchise I would not want to be rooting for, it's like them or Phoenix.
Or the Wizards.
They still got those ugly jerseys over there in Atlanta.
Yeah,
the bright yellow ones. They should go back to like the navy and red. That was clean in like the early 2000s.
I like the white blue, the white and light blue ones that they had.
Oh yeah.
But speaking of shooting, like you kind of mentioned, Justin, shooting is one of the worst or one of the biggest weaknesses on the Spurs right now.
Oh, definitely. They're lacking a 3-and-D kind of player on this roster. I mean, Vassell gives you some of that, but Vassell's just not.
We need another Danny Green. We need another Danny Green.
Yeah.
You need someone that can just spot up and be lights out. All the good teams have good specialists for that.
Duncan Robinson.
When they were really good, they had Danny Green, like Justin said. They
Bellinelli.
had Bellinelli.
Aaron Baines, right?
The Red Rocket.
Oh yeah, Matt
Bonner.
Bonner. Yeah, no, I think that's something that they're going to pursue this offseason. That actually was my next question, was who is a shooter you want to see paired up with Wemby next season?
It's got to be someone that's you don't have to give up a lot for, but they're a deadly shooter. I could see Duncan Robinson because I don't know if he would go for a lot, but I also wouldn't give up a lot of capital for that.
Is the guy on the? He's either on the Hawks or the Pistons right now. Or maybe...
Who? Bogdan Bogdanovic?
No, not him. It started with a D. His last name was a D.
He got traded. He's on the.
But he had like a crazy 3-ball.
I think the Spurs were going after Cam Johnson from the Nets at the deadline, and
I actually like.
Apparently, they wanted 2 first-rounders though, and. Just for a shooter, I think you can do better. Maybe out of the draft even. There's so many scorers in this draft that I think that's possible. There's someone at...
What about CJ McCollum? Like, I know he's on the Pelicans and stuff, but he's playing real good this year.
He reminds me of Bradley Beal. They used to be elite scorers, both of them, but the last few years they both taken a drastic step back.
CJ McCollum's all-stars numbers this year, in my opinion.
I mean, he did just have 42 two nights ago.
Then before that, 37, and then he's.
He may be at 3, but there's no D going on.
Yeah, that's true. He is old.
Yeah.
He is,
little Casemiro.
For real.
Just slow down. Yeah, I'm just trying to think,
no, that's a different
I mean,
guy.
even we lost, Doug McDermott.
Malcolm Brogdon. I would like him.
We just need someone, we need, in my opinion, we need someone who can shoot, and we need someone who can... is like a hustle player, like a Gary Payton.
Scotty good pickup this year. I wanted them to go after Buddy Hield. He ended up signing with the Warriors, I believe. He got that bag, I'm pretty sure too.
Who? Buddy Hield?
Buddy Hield would have been a perfect fit.
Dude,
As long as
he had
we
a
didn't-
crazy start in Golden State this year,
That's
but
the
I've
Buddy
seen
Hield
apparently he
curse.
fell off.
That
Yeah.
happens every time. I liked him a lot when he was on the Kings.
Yeah. Who the Kings? I think have a pretty good. Actually, no. I think they're a pretty bad shooting team.
No, not anymore. Zach LaVine is one of the greatest shooters in the league.
Yeah.
So-
True.
DeMar has that mid-range, like almost like top 5 league.
Yeah. Or even someone. Who's that on the Bucks? Torian Prince. He's
Yeah.
actually been like an elite shooter this year. Let me just look up top.
I like Bobby Portis
Three and-
as well. If we could have somehow grabbed him.
Yeah, I think he's had a decline this year though, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, two big names that I totally forgot from New Orleans is Herb Jones. He's like a really good 3-and-D player. And then Keon Ellis from Sacramento is also really good. So, those are just two other names. But
I personally think we should get Castle to be like George Gervin.
in what way?
I want to see him do more. So, like, hook shots. I don't know why. I've been watching a lot of 80s basketball, and like the way he finger rolled looked more like a hook shot to me than like a modern day finger roll. And I think Castle could just copy it and be great with it and just unguardable.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's like
Okay.
You're
if
telling me
Wemby got
Tyler
this
Hero's
guy-
Oh, this is sidetrack. You're telling me Tyler Hero's an all-star?
Yeah, I don't think he should have been an all-star. And I know
They
Justin here is going to disagree because he's a
Did
huge
they let
Well,
anybody in
okay.
here?
Okay, out of all the years Tyler Hero, this is Tyler Hero's best year at least.
What
At
does he
least
have to
it's
do?
that. I
Look
think
it
it's
up,
like
look it up.
23.
because Butler's been out.
Well,
Butler's been crying.
that doesn't
And
matter.
at least he stepped up, but I
Yeah,
mean,
23.9, I think. Yeah. And 5.5 and 5.5
I
and
think
on good shooting splits.
yeah.
So he's not all-star, I guess, but like I don't know. LeBron's not an all-star right now.
Oh, he was.
He just
He
decided
was
not to
until, like,
play.
an hour ago.
Then again, LeBron
Yeah.
can say whatever he wants, and the NBA bows down.
He was an all-star. He was just hurt. It's a
Yeah.
big
Yeah,
difference.
but the thing that was interesting
He
about
said
that
lingering.
is it was a lingering injury, and it's like, okay, well, AD and Giannis were hurt, and so they got replacements. But LeBron waited until an hour before, so he secured his name as an all-star, and then I don't know.
Yeah. It's still.
But-
I would like to see LeBron. Actually, I would rather Curry win this year than LeBron. Honestly,
Yeah, well,
just because
actually, Curry's team just lost.
Oh really?
Yeah, they
Dang.
just lost to it was Curry and Kevin. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's not true. I think Wemby's team just beat.
Tyler
There's like a really bad team of like young stars. Yeah, Tyler Hero's team just lost.
Mobley,
Yeah, Mobley, Hero,
Was Edwards on that
J-Dub.
team?
Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I think Ant was on that team. Brunson, J-Dub.
I would say we should.
Not a
trade
very
for-
good team.
We should. I was about to say, speaking of shooters and Brunson and them, what if we tried to get Josh Hart?
Who?
Josh Hart.
Josh Hart.
Oh, Josh Hart.
I actually like.
Yeah, he's pretty good. But I don't know if they're.
Great over Vassell
Yeah,
and Johnson.
Yeah, that's
Kind of like a like-for-like swap there.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think you're definitely it's a lateral move switching out like a Vassell for a Josh Hart.
Well, also the thing is, Josh Hart didn't really thrive until he got to the Knicks. So we
Yeah.
don't know if he's going to be as good on the Spurs.
Yeah,
But he's an
I'm
interesting
just worried. I think there's pressure on the Spurs right now to make win now moves because of the new apron stuff. The Spurs are gonna have to give Fox probably an uncomfortable amount of money this offseason, and Wemby's gonna get paid whatever you can possibly pay an NBA player. And on top of that, players like Sohan are gonna probably want like 20 mil.
I really hope not.
I tell Sohan to hit the road if he wants 20
Yeah.
mil.
Yeah, but I mean, defensively, like that's what his type of player archetype will get paid in the NBA. So it's about to get expensive really fast, which is why I think there's pressure to try and win now before Wemby's extension.
I don't think so. I think we have enough cap space. Like, we have a lot compared to a lot of other teams right now. We're not tied up in any money, so I think they'll figure something out.
I think we will too. I'm just saying it's about to right now we're like at the bottom of the curve that OKC's in. OKC is about halfway up, and then now OKC is gonna have players like J-Dub and Chet and Shea. I mean, that's already 3 players who are worth max contracts, and
we just need to keep Wemby and Castle for sure. And unless Castle like doesn't live up to expectations, which they're high, at least for me, and
they're high for me too. Yeah.
Because Fox. I mean, I like Fox and all. I really don't see him as that important in the grand scheme of things until he shows me that he deserves it.
Yeah. I think
he needs to take another level, be like a Devin Booker.
I think one of the most impressive parts about Castle's season this far is one of the biggest concerns around him were his shooting woes. He's not a very good shooter at UConn, and he came into the Spurs, and he was actually the worst shooter in the league for a while, statistically, but in his last 15, he's averaging 35% from 3, and I can't remember his field goal percentage, but he's really stepped up, and in that last 15, he also had his career high, which I believe was 33 points. So his scoring is looking a lot more fluid. He has good form. Like, if you watch him play, he does not look like he has, like, funky form like Sohan or someone. So I think it'll improve, and I think that's a pretty sure sign that he will be a star, showing that his biggest concern, or the biggest concern surrounding him, is already, like, rapidly improving midway through his rookie year. So I think I agree with what Justin said. Castle and Wemby are the 2 that really have to stay. I like Fox, but I don't think he's a must-have. I think there are other point guards that could come around.
We were named, like, before the Fox trade, it was like naming a lot of people. Even we asked about LaMelo, Trae Young, Fox,
Garland,
like.
Yeah,
we asked about a lot, and Wemby's the type of player that you can kind of throw a lot of people in, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah. Well, just to kind of wrap us up here, right now we're in the All-Star break, and we kind of talked about the direction of the Spurs. We're kind of split on whether or not they're going to pursue a higher draft pick or a potential play-in push, but I think we'll know real soon.
Yeah.
Literally, if we lose 2 of the next three to the Pistons and the Pelicans, I think that's pretty
too hot.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear from there that we're going to be pursuing a higher draft pick from both us and Atlanta. So yeah, we really appreciate you guys tuning in. This has been the Spurs of the Moment podcast with Jackson Baird, Justin Boutte, and myself, Reagan Love. You guys have a good night.
Yep. Good night, and see you later.